live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Joining us tonight, Wednesday, December the 6th. We have a number of things to go in depth on tonight. Ariel Harrison talking to us about Brighton, Solitude, really the town of Brighton as well, figuring out what to do with canyon congestion. We're talking about cheaper flights with Christina Flores, and also our big story here. We'll bring it to you now. As you get in depth with us tonight, you can always get in 2 News Live to join the conversation, and you can always find me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Send a DM to any of those platforms to weigh in. Going in depth tonight with the family of Major Eric Spendlove. Major Spendlove is one of the 8 airmen who were on board an Osprey that crashed off the coast of Japan last week. I spoke with Major Spendlove's sister and brother-in-law about Eric's legacy as a father and legacy as a flight surgeon who served our country.
I was instantly, disbelief. With him being a doctor in the Air Force, we kind of always thought he would be it's a more safe position. Just disbelief and wondering how we were going to tell my mom and my other brother, and wondering if he was okay. His family was his most important thing. He actually, on his last trip, in October, he sent my mom this text. My thoughts during the flight. In the old times, people lived with a sense of purpose and passion, knowing that tomorrow was not guaranteed. Has that changed? No, absolutely not. However, our perception has. We live as though we are entitled to tomorrow. We waste so much time worrying about meaningless endeavors and being socially relevant that we let our lives pass by. I want to start living like they used to live, with no fear of failure, with no concern for what the world will think. I want to love with more passion. I want to be the teacher and provider and protector of my children, the warrior to protect and defend my precious bride at all costs, enjoying every day, enjoying every breath, knowing that tomorrow is not promised. His family was everything. He loved his wife and his kids more than anything. In that text, he said that was his mission, is to just make sure that they are always cared for, and he loved everyone, and that's why he wanted to become a doctor. One of his favorite things to do was to deliver babies and just to be there, bringing them into the world.
And when Eric was about 13, he moved to St. George, and that's where he spent his time. So Eric graduated from Dixie High School. He graduated from Dixie State University with an undergraduate in biology, and then went to medical school. And he was so excited to go to medical school and serve and be in the medical community.
His birthday was 2 weeks before he passed. We spoke then, and then he sent me just another sweet text a couple days after that. He actually had sent my older brother a text and a picture just hours before he boarded that plane headed home. So he was just always super connected with all of us, and it's a big piece of our heart that's gone now.
According to his family, Major Spendlove's remains have not been found. He leaves behind his wife Chelsea and his 4 young children who were living on base with him in Japan. If you would like to help the family, you can find a link to their fundraiser. It's included in the article on our website right now, KUTV.com. Let's go in depth on something else here that involves Big Cottonwood Canyon and some parking concerns, some congestion concerns. New parking rules to address traffic for the ski season have some season pass holders frustrated. Just look at the comments on social. Don't take that for everything, though. Solitude and Brighton resorts require parking reservations. We've talked about that on this very program. Starting next week, the town of Brighton will be requiring reservations too. Ariel Harrison joining us live after spending the day in Big Cottonwood Canyon, talking to folks here that basically made the rules this time around. Ariel, What are they saying about the changes that are in place?
Hi, Brian. Yes, so this is, from what we've seen and what we continue to report on, a collective effort from all of the partners in Big Cottonwood Canyon. So, of course, we have the town of Brighton, we have Solitude Resort, we have also Brighton Resort, and then all the partners that help, you know, with the canyon, UDOT and UTA. There was a press conference held at Solitude today to talk about traffic congestion, which Brighton was in attendance. Now, you mentioned specifically we have season pass holders. We've been seeing chatter online. They're frustrated, specifically from my understanding at Brighton. We asked Brighton leadership about that today. In this collective effort, they say all of their partners are partners being Solitude, Brighton, those resorts, and the town of Brighton, they're all requiring reservations, and it is in an effort to really crack down on the traffic and congestion we see. I spoke with the Brighton town mayor, Dan Knoop, today. He told me that during peak winter days, during ski season, they're seeing between 5,000 to 8,000 vehicles in the past. That's something that they're hoping, though, will lessen, because as we've seen throughout the ski season, we're here in Utah. We know it's such a fun pastime. We have so many people that want to go up and enjoy the snow, and I mean, it's a blast, so you can't blame them. But the congestion we see it can be insane at times, where the people who live in the community of Big Cottonwood Canyon, they can't even access their homes. Traffic is backed up for hours. Sometimes it's taking 2+ hours for people to get out of the canyon. So this is really a collective effort requiring reservations at both of the resorts and in the town of Brighton to try and help mitigate that, because I know we had the historic winter last year. They don't anticipate that will be a repeat, but they do think that putting these different measures into place, specifically reservations, will make a difference. And that was my big takeaway today, Brian, as I spent some time up in the canyon.
Ariel, thank you. And if you missed anything from Ariel's report right now, there's a detailed list on our website, KUTV.com, about Brighton and Solitude and kind of all of the nuances to the parking responsibility that you now have, added to anything else of packing the family of 4 in there or trying to get up there. And I'm not, obviously, I have feelings about it too, but I know a lot of people do. And it's just disappointing because even from when I moved here 4.5 years ago to now, it has gotten crazy.
It's gotten crazy within just a couple of years.
Yes.
So if you think about it, 10, 20 years ago, it was just so easy.
Y'all are so lucky if you were doing it then.
And we talked about this earlier, I mean, what else can Solitude or Brighton or some of these ski resorts do? Can they expand the parking lot? Can they build a parking structure? Is that allowed?
I don't know about, because obviously they have the Forest Service permit for a lot of what they can do on mountain. I don't know where it extends to. It would be interesting to know if, hey, is there more parking you can put in, because there are more sales of passes being put out. There are more people wanting to get here, but now it's almost like you're having to curb it because you don't have the space, and rightfully so. I mean, they're tight, narrow canyons getting all the way up there, 1 lane up, 1 lane down, a couple passing lanes, but really you only have, what, maybe 1,000 spaces, I think, at Brighton or so. And then obviously Solitude, I would imagine maybe a little bit less, just by guessing. That's not a fact. But yeah, what else can they do? A parking garage actually would do the wonder, I think. But it's a matter of if you want to build that, and then obviously everything comes with a cost.
Sure does. Greatest snow on earth.
Comes with a cost.
I guess it's a good problem to have, right?
It is.
And more snow is on the way. We've gone ahead and issued a first alert weather day for this next storm, Brian. That's not going to be a huge snowmaker for the valleys, but it will be snowing during the Friday morning commute. So there could be a few slick spots, and we just want you to be prepared. Maybe allow extra time, get those snow tires on before we start to see that valley snow. The last few storms, we've had some rain issues, so this one looks cold enough that it could be a little slushy or slick for some folks, especially here along the Wasatch Front. Today, though, it was mild, 55 degrees in Salt Lake City. That's actually pretty close to a record high. Record's 58 back in 2014. Normal this time of year is 41, so we're still well above average. Now, tonight we have a little storm that's going to be rolling in, so a couple rain showers are possible, especially after midnight, and the best chance will be north of Salt Lake. Upper 30s will be in the low 30s and dry in central Utah, and upper 30s down in southern Utah. Tomorrow, though, pretty nice day in St. George, 60 degrees, 53 in Cedar City. We'll have more clouds, though, in northern Utah, and a chance for a couple rain and snow showers, mainly across far northern Utah, and we won't be as mild, highs in the 40s. So a couple storms coming our way. This is the one that moves in for tomorrow morning. The one behind behind it, though, that rolls in on Friday. And that one's the one that's going to probably have the biggest impact here in northern and central Utah. Again, not seeing a ton down in southern Utah. So let's break this down. Here comes this first storm for tomorrow morning. A little bit of rain possible in the valleys. Shouldn't have a huge impact on your commute. Just a few sprinkles and some light snow in the mountains. Storms out of here, though, by tomorrow afternoon. There might be a couple lingering showers near the Idaho border. And then here comes that Friday storm that rolls in, mainly after midnight. But we'll have those snow showers for your Friday morning commute from Logan down to about Nephi. And then as we head into the afternoon, we might start to see maybe an isolated snow shower from Beaver down to Cedar City. A couple lingering showers here in northern Utah. Friday evening commute should be okay, but there could be a couple light showers out there. And then it's out of here by Friday night and into Saturday morning. Snowfall-wise, again, not big snow totals in the valleys. Generally 1 to 4 is what you can expect. Of course, those mountains and ski resorts seeing a lot more than that. By Friday night, 8 to 18 inches here in northern Utah. St. George, sorry, but your dry streak continues. No rain, but you will see cooler temperatures. By Friday, you're down to 52, 48 on Saturday. And then we're rebounding back into the mid-50s early next week under partly cloudy skies. Salt Lake, we're in the 40s tomorrow, and then we feel that colder air mass Friday and Saturday, mid-30s, overnight lows dropping into the 20s. There's another little system that moves in. We'll keep it cloudy on Sunday, maybe a few flurries. Not a lot of moisture with that one, and then we'll see those temperatures kind of hover in the low 40s early next week. So a decent storm on Friday. The thing, though, is, Brian, I'm kind of looking for something for next week. There's really nothing coming our way, so we might have a dry streak ahead of us after this Friday storm.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yep.
Just want to let you know we are expanding your time here on 2 News Live for another moment or so.
Yeah, let's do it.
And as a meteorologist, you're used to that.
Yeah.
Stretching a bit. So we wanted to pull up Big Cottonwood Canyon here. This is up by Solitude. Obviously, no concern for parking in this stretch right now.
Nope.
But it is interesting because if you look at the timeline of your forecast and you look at a road like this, how different will things look here come Friday for our first alert weather day?
Yeah, it's going to be huge impacts, of course, up the Cottonwood Canyons. Again, this is a colder storm, so it's been snowing up in the mountains, but that snow is going to continue to linger through Friday and Friday afternoon. So I expect, of course, chains, 4x4, traction law up the Cottonwood Canyons. Make sure you have those snow tires. That's the best thing that you can have if you're going up to some of these resorts, and you have to do some canyon driving.
All right, thank you, Chase. Remember to download our 2 News weather app to know about the changes in your neighborhood. Chase is off the hook for 2 News Live, but he's always on the hook with our 2 News weather app because that's where things come in real time. That's where everything gets updated, and the app is free to download. How about that? We keep it free for you. How about cheap? We can move to cheap as we keep an eye on your money. It might not be free, but airports, of course, really busy this month. This is a busy time of year for travelers, and they're always comparing prices. And I've done this, what you're talking about.
Okay.
I compare airports, and I do that normally to where I fly out of here from and how we get back. But I should start doing it here in Utah because we've got other options. By the way, Christina
do.
Flores here looking at ways to save some money.
Yeah, so we've got, aside from Salt Lake International, which is I guess the flagship airport,
Sure.
right? We also have Provo Airport, which is a lot smaller than Salt Lake International. And then Ogden also resumed commercial flights. They just announced that last week. But if you are looking for, a deal on flights, I know you're comparing prices on the tickets, but what about comparing the airports? Well, Provo Airport in Utah County is attracting a lot more passengers lately. Of course, they have 2 airlines that provide economy flights. They don't have direct flights every day, so there are some limits as to when you can fly, but they're pretty cheap. And also, one of the things that the airport is selling or promoting about itself is the fact that it's a lot smaller. You can just drive up, find a parking spot really quickly. You're a few steps to the door and then a few more steps to boarding your plane. So there's a lot of convenience in going to a lot of these small airports where you don't have to get into a long security line. You don't have to wait a long time for a cup of coffee. I mean, Provo Airport is no frills, as well as Ogden. But if you just want a cheap flight somewhere, you can be flexible on the days that you fly. You want to get in and out, it's a pretty good option.
Typically, some of these regional airports have this option and have obviously easier parking and easier, accommodations for things. But you can't talk about the regional airport in the middle of nowhere that doesn't have anything else around those are the flights you're typically paying a lot more money for. But here in Salt Lake, in this area, specifically northern Utah, sorry to our friends in St. George, you have the option, obviously, St. George Regional, and then you got to go to Vegas, which is a big airport in itself. But if you look at how easy it is to get to any of those major airports here. If you live in Lehigh, for example, right on that Salt Lake County, Utah County line, you can go south here, maybe 20 minutes or something to Provo, and you have an easy option to Salt Lake. And honestly, if you're not hitting it during rush hour, it's not a bad drive to Ogden.
It's not a bad drive. And I know you mentioned a lot of these smaller airports don't drive to the major cities, but some people want that. Some people want to drive or fly into a smaller airport like in San Bernardino, California, or Santa Ana, California. They might have family there, you know, or Hartford, Connecticut. That's a small. Is that
you're trying to get me home, baby?
Yeah. So
I love that.
So some of these
Who's
smaller
going
airports,
to Hartford? I got to find that one now.
Well, there are a lot of people. One of the airlines at Provo Airport flies direct to Hartford, Connecticut. Not every day, but see, some people like you might have family in the area, and they don't want to go to a big airport. They just want to go to another small airport and not have any hassles when they get there.
With all due respect, I love Logan and in Boston, and I love LaGuardia and JFK in New York. I'm saying that with like tongue-in-cheek, kind of. But it'd be nice to be able to fly into Bradley International Airport there in Hartford, which is historically difficult for me to get back home to get here to Salt Lake City. So this is a great option, just using myself as a real example.
Aren't you glad that I came and told you that? Gave you
this
that
was
news?
a win for today. Christina Flores, always a win, because always looking for ways to save you money. This was a good one. Thank you, Christina.
Sure.
To see all of Christina's past reporting, you can head to our website, KUTV.com. You can click on the Eye on Your Money tab, and of course, send her ideas. We always love to keep the ideas flowing. See Flores at KUTV2.com. This was a good one, especially for your wallet here as you get into the holidays. Provo, Ogden, Salt Lake International, all good options if you're looking to escape for a little bit. Thanks for joining us for 2 News Live here on this Wednesday edition. We will be back with you tomorrow and, of course, for the rest of the week right here at 5:30. Lots more to bring you. I think we're talking more snow tomorrow and maybe even a little night skiing. Should be pretty cool. Have a great night.